All right, cool. All right, hey guys, this is Kyle, working with Jaci here, and just going over, you know, different schools and pedagogies and thoughts as far as music is concerned. And different cultures have different styles, so there's validity. The first thing I just do want to say is there's validity in every style of vocal technique. You know, you may have heard of classical, you may have heard of a still, you may have heard of speech level singing, or more kind of a natural method, or Alexander, or whatever. So there's many different methodologies and pedagogies, and they all have validity in a lot of ways. There's some that kind of work with a bit more imagery. There's some that work with a little bit more on the technician side, some that work with repertoire, other ones that work with soul and style. So I actually come from a technician side. My background, I actually grew up in a classical methodology. Actually, my trainer was the director of the Vienna Boys Choir, and so I grew up in a very classical way where we had to fill an amphitheater with our voice, and so everything was very, 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 very loud and very whoa, and you know, all that. And so with that, there can be some very good positives. It taught me really how to project and get the voice out, but with that there was a cost, and the cost was a high range. So when you're very heavy in the low range, you kind of sacrifice more of that upper range. In speech level singing, which was created by a man named Seth Riggs. Seth Riggs, I worked with him for about 8 years, and a wonderful teacher. Actually got my voice very, very balanced, and got me a lot of opportunities with doing some Broadway work and church work and all that. And he's very big about balancing out the registers. So you start in the bottom and kind of an equal treatment all the way through, but also working specifically more with larynx positioning and color of tone, but also allowing the bridge work. And when your larynx is a bit more lower stable, your bridge can actually become very, very seamless. So instead of cracking all over the place, it's a lot more smooth. Alexander method actually works a lot with massage techniques and relaxation of muscles so that you don't have tension. So there's a lot of validity with that. The big thing in choosing a methodology or a teacher when it comes to voice teaching, there are a lot of great ones out there, but there are a lot of ones that honestly they don't know fully what they're talking about. There's a lot of buzzwords that scientifically don't match up. One of them, and this is going to surprise some, is the phrase "sing from the diaphragm." You have to be careful about that phrase because you cannot technically and anatomically sing from your diaphragm. It's not possible. Your diaphragm actually only works upon inhalation. So when you breathe in, your diaphragm becomes active, and then upon exhalation, it releases and becomes passive. Okay, so why is it that you actually get a resistance and you come out slower when you're breathing out? Well, it's because of the amount of closure that you have in your vocal cords, how much you project, but then also it's your abdominals and your intercostals that control a lot of the force of air that starts going through the larynx. So when you breathe in, you actually make room, your diaphragm actually flattens down, and then it releases back up. It's like a kind of muscle versus a counter muscle. Look at it this way. So when you have a bicep, you work a tricep. Okay, so if you go this way, you're working your bicep. If you go this way, you're working your tricep. You're releasing your bicep. So my bicep becomes active. Now my bicep becomes passive. Okay, same thing with the tricep. So the diaphragm gets out of the process of exhalation. It's still there, but it kind of works like a piston mode with a active-passive relationship. So when somebody says sing from your diaphragm, it's more of an imagery term. If somebody says sing from your diaphragm and you're doing what they want you to do, then you're all good. But it was based upon an imagery rather than an actual scientific anatomical way of doing things. How I work a lot is making sure that everything, again, is balanced through the registers, but also where you can do anything style-wise with your voice and make sure you have the tools to be able to do it successfully to where you can sing for 2 hours, 3 hours, and you still have a voice left. So there you go.